Greetings and welcome back to A Better Official Live. Today we have 5 Play Friday. We love looking at plays, and we are excited, super excited, to be here and looking at plays, seeing what we can take, the positives, the negatives. Appreciate everybody jumping in today, and we're going to get going pretty quickly here with the show. Ay, ay, ay. Billy Mack, COVID still an issue? Ay, ay, ay. That is tough. Ray Allen is in the house. Ray, I have given back my section games. NorCal's still on the table as I am on the mend. I hope everybody's staying healthy. I myself have an Achilles issue, which has put me on the shelf, and hopefully I'll recover from that. But hopefully everybody else is ambulatory and able to get up and down the court. The Zooch is here. Good morning, Darwin Sonata from the great state of Michigan. Frank Fink joining as well. Paul Clay in the South Bay. Paul, exciting times. We love playoffs. I hope everybody has achieved their playoff goals. Has if that is where you are in the season. We just did a little game video analysis, positioning analysis for Wisconsin River officials, and really talking about how getting to the level, getting the games that you want to be assigned to, really starts with fundamentally improving your game, and game video analysis, of course, is critical in that process. Once we start breaking down our game video, then all the parts of our game are there. They're bare. We can see, in this situation, I'm here. In this situation, I am not quite where I want to be. I'm not looking at the right things at the right time. And therefore, sometimes I get the calls wrong. How could I get better? Right? How can I handle this situation better? That's what we're looking at today at 5 Play Friday. Tyler Nolan jumping in. Good to see you. And Jason Hayes, show supporter. Appreciate you jumping in, Jason. Welcome. Mike Goodwin enjoying a heat wave in Alaska, plus 10. Holy Toledo. Break out the sunscreen. Mike Connors jumping in from Florida. Richard Smith from Arkansas, good to see you. It's that time of year. It is that time of year. Snowed out in Missouri. I did not see that play, Larry. Ball goes towards the bench. Coach touches the ball. We've got decisions to make. If obviously that affected play, then we've got something. We certainly have the opportunity to assess a technical foul in that way, right? We could take it to the extreme. Balls being passed from A1 to A2 in the front court. The defensive coach says, just reaches out and slaps the ball while it's in flight, going to an open shooter in the corner, right? An obvious act of an unsporting nature, contacting the ball. Maybe they were frustrated with a call, right? Then what do we have? Obviously, we have a technical foul. Now the same play occurs, except the pass is errant, and the coach is just standing there, and the ball's heading right towards him, right? What do we as human beings do? We make, if it's a surprise and sudden and it happens to us on the court, sometimes the ball is hit towards us so quickly that our only reaction is to reach out and touch the ball, either to deflect it or to catch it, right? If somebody had a play on that ball, then everything comes into play. But in the absence of that, right, ball's just batted hard and it hits the coach who's standing off, right? Obviously, that's nothing. So we've got decisions to make. I did not see the play with Juwan Howard And those plays are always interesting, and judgment really has to come into play. Snow. All right. A day off for Mike. We love when we get our schedule. It's like, oh yeah, I'm loaded up, right? Like sometimes when we go to work, AAU games in the offseason, you have a 4-game set, right? We're poised, we're ready to go. I'm excited. I got 4 games. It's worth X amount of dollars or whatever. Oh, my last game's canceled. Oh, yes. Oh. The Dakotas are well represented. Ted, good to see you. Steve Plummer is in the house. Casey, excellent. Okay. All right. Hey, Casey, I appreciate that. Much appreciated. Wow, I wish I had something, an animated thing that went. Oh, and here it comes. Here it comes. I was afraid Jacob would make an appearance and give me grief about my reeling Golden State Warriors, limping into the All-Star break. Yeah. They are struggling. Memphis looks so strong behind them, and the Clippers infallible. So we will see. Not on this show. All right. Awesome. Let's go to the rundown, take a look at all of the things. Excellent. Of course, every single Wednesday. No? What? I'm getting word most Wednesdays. I need to grow. My game. There we go. Excellent. And then, of course, every Friday, 5 Play Friday Live, we look at plays, steal all the positives, identify negatives, how they may affect our game and affect our postseason assignments as well. And if you're new to the chat, jump in the chat. Let me know where you officiate from. We'd be pleased to meet you. We've got a fantastic group of officials here in the chat. And put your voice in the game and let us know about your opinions about plays, etc., what you see, what you don't see. And we can all exchange ideas, get better together. If you have a moment, like and share the stream. Appreciate that. And we can get more officials on the stream and make the boop, ba-doo, ba-doo. Yeah. Okay. No, that's not where I want to be. All right. Mike, that is true. We're Warriors are waiting on Draymond Green to get back. They are struggling without. Although they played pretty well against Denver in the last game, they just did not play well down the stretch. That'll do it. TJ jumping in from Maryland and Virginia. Excellent. Okay. Casey. Oh, excellent. Official in Southwest Kansas, also a freshman in high school, I assume. That is fantastic. The early start. I myself did not get started in officiating until much, much later. Once my kids finished playing. So having that head start makes all options available to you. All options. That's tremendous. Okay, let's get started with the show. Christopher Lake jumping in from Pittsburgh. Good to see you, Chris. All right, on to regional play in Michigan. Excellent. It's just such a fun time of year, right? And it's a chance for us to sort of reap the benefits. If we have playoff assignments, get those games. Obviously, the games are really important. But, it's a chance for us to bring all of our skills to bear into the game. And those are exciting times, right? Sometimes we're doing those regular season games and we get into, kind of the drudgery and this is non-competitive game, etc. It's great to get those big games that have, critical importance, and then the game is close towards the end and we can bring all of our officiating skills to bear and make sure that we execute correctly down the stretch. It's a great test for us as we adjudicate, officiate those games. Yeah, right on. Gregory, we are not listening to this snowy. We understand that there's a bit of a heat wave going on in Fairbanks, the +10, right? So, no sympathy. No sympathy. Of course, here in the San Francisco Bay Area, the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area, we are experiencing very mild temperatures, 75, 80 during the day, sunny. Yeah, we're struggling through our environment. Excellent. Last minute playoff assignment. As a newer official, right, your first playoff games are super exciting, and the intensity, right, is there. And so what we want to take from that is, okay, how can I prepare my game for that intensity? Of course, getting reps, right? If we get reps in intense environments, then we become more familiar with them and more relaxed and more comfortable. But when it first comes at you, it can be a real challenge. We just need to prepare our game to be able to withstand the pressure in that environment. The pressure being just the intensity that we're not used to, right? And the importance and the desire to do well, etc. So that is super exciting that you got that assignment. And, obviously it was deserved. And so, just prepare yourself for more. Just be ready for the next one. Paul Moss jumping in. Wow. Oh, man. That is tremendous. Much appreciated and much love. That's awesome, Paul. Thank you so much. Yeah, Mike. So that, of course, is one of the rules there is no penalty, right? Division line must be a contiguous line, properly marked, etc. If there's no division line in the center circle, then obviously the penalty is there is no penalty, right? It's one of those rules without a penalty. Yeah, I agree. All right. Paul Moss, superstar. Much appreciated. Let's get started with this show. 20 minutes after. Come on, man. Come on. End of season intensity rising, but we're always looking to refine our game, our positioning on the court, and getting better as basketball officials. Today we're looking at 5 plays. Stick around. Greetings and welcome back to another episode of 5 Play Friday, the show where we break down game video, take the things that we can learn from them so we can get better as basketball officials. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Austin with A Better Official. We craft video to help basketball officials get better and take control of their officiating career. 5 Play Friday, in an effort to do that, analyzing all the things, looking at the positioning of the officials, correct official, making the call, working the system, and awareness of what's going on the court, and properly adjudicating plays. Now, if this video content is something you find valuable as a basketball official, make sure you do all of the things. Hit the like and the subscribe and the notify so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday during the basketball season, and you don't want to miss out on that. Join us for the live stream. Put your voice in the game, and that way we can all get better together. Before we get started today, allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters who fuel the show: John Skinner, Landon Arnold, Daryl Young, Ray Cloak, and Thomas Hennian. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show, there will always be an opportunity, a link down in the show notes below. Awesome. Let me see that. It didn't work. The tech team. I'm gonna reduce the kibble, the portion of kibble. Oh, okie doke. Let's go there. All right. I think we're there. Put that down. I think we're poised and ready to go. All right, today we have some viewer submitted. Let's see. All right, today we have some viewer submitted plays. Let's look at play number 1. All right. So we look at our situation. If our display here at the bottom is correct, we have a very close game, 61-60. Final seconds, 7 seconds remaining. I don't know if we've come out of a timeout here, but we have a throw-in play. Now, as we approach the end of the season, playoff games, intensity rising, end of game situations, we want to be at our best. We want to properly adjudicate plays. So let's look at all the things on this play, right? If it's after a made basket, after a scored goal, thank you. What do we have on a play like this? We have the ability for the throwing team to have multiple players out of bounds. They can pass the ball between those players. And that pass between players out of bounds is protected from the defender. A defender may not penetrate the boundary plane and contact the basketball in this situation. On this play, we have potentially contacting the basketball and subsequently illegal contact. So the question is, what do we have on this play? What would we want our reaction to be as well? All right, are we going to keep everything to ourselves? Are we going to work as a crew to is this a common play? Is this something you see in your game every day? No, it's not. This is an atypical play. At the end of the game, we obviously want to adjudicate this properly, and we have potentially multiple pieces of information on the play. we may want to get together as a crew. But let's look at the play on its merits. Get out the way, ref. Now, we do not see any indication from the official that it is an end-line throw-in in which the player can move. We have to go under that assumption here. Teammate goes out of bounds. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Teammate goes out of bounds. Defender goes with them. It appears to contact the ball and then contacts the other player. What would we have on this play? Right? If the defensive player violates the boundary plane and contacts the basketball, that is a player technical foul by rule. If they did not contact the basketball and violated the plane and contacted a thrower, then that would be a intentional personal foul by rule. Whether this player, this teammate of the thrower, is a thrower in this instance, I think the rules would support that, even though it's not, they are not, holding the ball and about to release a throw-in. So it's an interesting play in that way, but something that we'd like to see from the official here is going to a partner and processing this play properly before we go and make a ruling. We do not know what the ultimate ruling on the play was. If the defensive player violated and contacted the ball, it should be a player technical foul. But in an end-of-game situation, maybe more communication between the officiating crew so we can ensure that we get this play right. We have to remember that in this end-of-game scenarios, this time of year, when our decisions, if we make a mistake here, right, there's no opportunity for anybody to correct in the game, right? Where the time is running short. So our decisions are critical. We just want to be positive, reconfirming, right? We always like to recognize that that's our role, is to get plays right. And sometimes slowing down, processing, and thinking through exactly what we have and what's going to happen next, right, puts us in a better position to adjudicate plays properly. Right? This is, the key thing to remember, to recognize here is this is an unusual play, and we're going to need some processing. It's unusual. It's not something we've never seen before, but it's unusual for a teammate of the thrower to go, to step out of bounds. It's unusual for our table. Maybe they start the clock when the ball is touched by the teammate, etc. All sorts of unusual aspects of the play. So we need to slow down here, process, and make it happen. Chris has delay of game. Jeremy says, help me out with this out of bounds play. Oh, I see. We're going to come back to that, Jeremy. Yeah. So, there is the contact, but of course, is the contact after the ball had already become dead? If the ball was deflected by the opponent of the thrower, then the ball became dead immediately. I feel a little short here. There. Rudy, I think we have to assume that is the situation. But again, right? So we analyze our game video. If you are the administering official on this throw-in, was it obvious that it was a spot throw-in, or that the player had the ability to run the end line. We want that to jump off of the video, right? We want our game to have those attributes so that when a play comes up like this, a clip, well, it was obviously a spot throw-in because he indicated that it was a spot throw-in, right? We want to really sort of embellish that. Now, NFHS added that signal only within the last decade, right? And it's to be used, right? You know, we can be really obvious here that player has that capability. Larry has intentional foul. Mike, no foul. Randy says at least a delay violation and a common foul. Huh. That's interesting. Why you would have something different, Ted. So Ted says the defender touched the ball and then commits a foul, right? So if the defender touches the ball and then there is contact, right? Now we're in a compressed situation, right? There's not much room on the end line. That contact is not necessarily a foul. That contact is dead ball contact and needs to be judged as incidental, illegal, intentional, or flagrant, right? Right. Anytime we have contact during dead ball situation, that's always the judgment on the play. Dave has player T. I have player T on this as well. Is the ball dead on the play in violation? Or is it dead when the ball is contacted, when it's being thrown between throwers, right? So critical here is that the ball cannot be reached. The player cannot violate the boundary plane and contact the ball. If the ball became dead with the plane violation and not with the contact, then in that situation, we would never have a violation, Mike, for a contacting the ball or contacting the thrower, right? So I don't think it becomes dead on the actual penetration of the plane. You see a player technical, Jacob, for contacting the basketball when it's being thrown between throwers as a knee-jerk call. That would seem to be the correct adjudication of the play by rule. Randy. All right, let's slow down. We got to get our priorities straight. No work here. Yeah. Paul, that is a key component on this play. That would be my key takeaway, right? We have something super abnormal. How are we going to adjudicate this play, right? Slow down. If we're going to assess a player technical, go to your partner, just go through the process of what's going to happen next, etc. Al, then the question would be, what happens first? I think Billy is referring potentially to, I should have that running, potentially to players in the bench. Yeah, I don't see that as a thing. Hey, Tony, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. All right. I'm going to say, all right, let's take a look at play number 2. All right. Excellent. I love this clip for a lot of reasons. First of all, the perspective given, right? Big gym, big floor, right? And the camera angle is so fantastic. If we can have all of our game video broken down with this view, we get so much better perspective on the official's position, etc. Right? So we are taking that for what it is. But on this play, in the right place. On this play, right, let's take away some key elements here. Now, as center official in this situation, we want to officiate the players in our area of responsibility across the floor. But if you are in a game with flow and you know what's going to happen, right? This team is pushing the ball up, and you recognize the situation by evaluating the players on the court. You can recognize that this is a play we need to get into the front court, right? This is going to be our sprint situation where we need to get ahead and find that defender on this play. So Chris, obviously, who submitted the play, has the jets, the ability to get up the court if you've got him. But the key to this is recognizing this is the play that I need to bust up. This is not the play as center where I'm going to transition up slowly, right? If we evaluate the players on the court, anytime we're in transition and we need to make our first action, our habitual action, evaluate the players on the court. Is there a press? Is there defensive intensity? Is the ball moving quickly up the court, etc.? And if once we evaluate what we have, then we can make a decision about what we need to do. In this situation, recognizing that the ball's being thrown ahead, we have got to get ahead of this player to get the open look on the play, right? So that is a key takeaway. If you can execute this in your game, recognizing the situation and putting yourself in position to make the call is key. If we were 10 feet behind this play, we would not have the open look that we need on the play. So analyzing our game when we're in transition is really important. And if we have the ability to get ahead of that play, we need to make that a high priority. So that's a takeaway for me on this play. Let's take a look. Now, it's a banger block charge play. It's in transition. You could say, should the center be having a primary whistle on this play? You may have pre-gamed how you're going to handle it. Close play. What are the habits and fundamentals of the calling official? Right? You might not like the two fists up. The official may work other levels, etc. Right? But what do we have? High certainty. Demeanor says 100%, I have this call. This is mine. I own it. This is my call. There's strength in the ruling, right? And that's what we want as well. There's no ambivalence. It's not wishy-washy. It's like, that's a block, right? And so that's a fantastic element as well. And when we analyze our game video, these are the things that we are looking for. Now let's look at the play on its merits. Block charge play. Right? So right here, we have the ability to pick up that defender. Ooh. Which defender? That defender. How about that? Right? We have an open look on the play. Right? So where is the contact? Is this torso contact? Is this leg contact? Right? Some of the clues we may get are the player seems to twist, right? In falling, which would indicate leg contact causing that twist. They were not in the path, right? But you could say, well, they were legal. They moved, or laterally, obliquely. The key question for me here is, where is the contact? Is the contact in the torso of the defender or the leg of the defender, or somewhere in between, somewhere on the spectrum? Right, there's definitely leg contact at the end. So our defender, kind of softens their position, right? which anytime a defender starts to lean back or softens their position, sort of sinks down a little bit, anticipating torso contact, what this tends to do is expose the legs. And in this situation, leg contact would be a blocking foul. I think that's what we have on this play. Right? Good play to catalog as a crew as well, so that when we have a similar play at the other end of the court, we are aware that on this play, in this fashion, we had this. We want to be aware of the calls that we have on the court by our partners, right? These are the calls that we've put in the game. This is how we are officiating this game tonight. We want to be consistent. We want to get plays right. I'll tell you that much, right? And it's a great play to look at, our ability to recognize the play, anticipate the play that we're going to have, and put ourselves in position. Right? If we look, if I am the lead on this play, and I say, okay, did I recognize what we had, and did I execute the necessary? Did I have the necessary intensity to put myself in position to adjudicate the play? Right? We want to do the best that we can. We want to, be able to anticipate and put ourselves in the correct position. Sometimes it's a lack of recognition. Sometimes it's just a lack of, I didn't have the get up and go to get there. And sometimes it's just physical limitations. I do not have the ability, even at my fastest sprint, to get to the end line in this situation, right? All we can do is what we have at our availability. But recognizing plays, putting ourselves in position is the first step to getting calls correct. Dave's got player control. Mike has player control. No restricted area here in South Dakota. Obviously playing at a... Yeah. I do not have torso contact on this. Hip at best. No restricted area on this play. I'm assuming this looks like a high school game played on a collegiate court. Chris jumping in. No RA. South Dakota, of course, does have shot clocks. Yeah. We love... That's another takeaway as well, right? We love the shot clock that has the game clock on it as well, like we do here. That's so valuable. I don't believe that the center had the golden look on this play. Yeah, that would be something you could certainly say, okay, when we adjudicated this play, when the center said, I'm going to take that play, were they executing the way that we are working that system tonight? Had we pre-gamed that? Had we gotten a little excited about the fact, or did we recognize maybe our lead was not in the strongest position to adjudicate the play, right? These are all the factors. Fundamentally, we would say, hey, lead gets first crack at this call. Yeah, that's a key takeaway for me, Chris, is, right, good, bad, or indifferent. We've made a call, right? The game appreciates strength in reporting, right? We could have put a call in the play. It's a block. It's a charge. Coach may say, I may disagree with you 100%, but everybody appreciates calling officials showing strength and certainty in the moment, right? The worst thing is I disagree with your call, and you told me with your actions that you disagree as well, right? Because you were like uncertain and weak, or like you started to go charge and then you go block or something like this. That only compounds the problem, right? Stakeholders in the game can appreciate strength and certainty. Now that doesn't mean, okay, we'll get to the now we're discussing the play with the coach. Right, would say, I had this, I could see why you'd say that. You may have a case there from my angle, I saw this, etc. We don't have to be like, no, my call is right, and show any arrogance in that situation. But strength when reporting, strength at the spot of the foul, it makes the game better. And that's something we want when we analyze our game video. We're looking for that as well, right? Do I show that strength and certainty? Did I show a moment of wavering, right? If I can get rid of that, show the strength, and go from there, then we could have a discussion with the coach, and this, that, the other. Curtis likes it. Boom. Dave Craig, contact made directly into the chest. Dave, I don't know if our view of this play is the same. I do not have contact made directly into the chest. Now, sometimes our brain starts to put things together and says, here's what happened. Let me try this. No, didn't work. Let's see. Right. If contact was made directly into the chest, I think our player would fall in a different direction. This player did not flop, right? There was contact, there was leg contact, maybe contact towards the hip, right? There's definite displacement. It's not a no call. Hey, Michigan. Good to see you. Michigan contingent is strong today. All right. Great play to share. Thanks, Chris. I mean, it's great for so many reasons, right? We end up with a banger play, a block charge play, which we all love adjudicating block charge plays. We see this, we see that, etc., right? But there's a lot of aspects of this game in terms of recognition in transition and officiating, putting ourselves in position. When we are in transition from trail to new lead, often we are asked to break out our highest level of sprint, right? We have got to go all out to get to the end line and receive this play. And as center official, oftentimes we are staying connected on rebounding, evaluating players across the court as we move up, etc., looking for a secondary defense if there's a press and all these things. But sometimes what we recognize in that instant after the ball goes in, we freeze our vision, we evaluate the players, and we know what's going to happen next. And we have to just have in our bag the ability to say, okay, all out, I have to get ahead of this play to get that open look. And if I achieve that, right, then that is a check box in my performance. Achieving that, right? If I fail to achieve that and then I have the same play and I put a whistle on the play, now maybe I'm looking at a backside, I'm guessing, etc., right? The ability to recognize the play, what's going to happen, anticipate it, put ourselves in position to make the call, display a high degree of certainty and strength at the spot when we go report. These are all like super positives, right? Then we can analyze our film and say, okay, why did I put the call in the game? Did I evaluate things correctly, etc.? Was it a block? Was it a charge? What's your opinion, etc., etc.? But the key steps are, that we recognize on this play is putting ourselves in the best possible position and displaying habits and fundamentals that are positives for our game. All right, a great play. Thanks, Chris, for submitting that one. Let's look at play number 3. All right. Well, certainly something funny happened on this play. So as a follow-up now, or again, we're looking at habits and fundamentals of the officials. The center official in this instance, did they display the same recognition of the situation on the court and what their responsibilities are on this play? Did they display the appropriate amount of energy to put themselves in position to officiate the next play here, right? So we have a situation where there's a turnover, a change of possession in the backcourt. Players headed up the court. Does something funny happen there? Get out the way, ref. Right? But did something illegal happen? Did the correct official, were they looking in the right place at the right time for the right things to make the right call? Freddie Krieger. Or did they call out of their primary and have a reaction whistle on a play? There's a lot of elements of this ball handler's action that are very similar to a Eurostep, in that there is a definite change of speed, like something unusual has happened. If out of the corner of our eye we perceive this player, I'm going to put a whistle on that, right? But do we have illegality on the play? Let's take a look. Ball handler terminates with the left foot on the floor, steps with the right, passes the ball, but there was a definite change of speed on the play. Right, the player, realized they'd sort of made a mistake. The timing was this, that, or the other thing. The official, who should not have had a whistle on this play, due to the fact that it belonged to the trail responsibility, we compound the issue here as well. So if we compare this play, right, what would we want our center official to do here in transition? Right, let's take a look. Right here we have a change of possession, right? We're going to go to the front court. We need to put ourselves in a position to officiate the players that we are responsible for in this instance, right? Whether we have the ability to sprint in our bag, the players here are getting away from the center official. We need to, we like to make references to baseball players, right? There's the home run trot. There's the comfortably moving from first to third on a single. And then there is the have to beat out a play at first base, right? Whether you are the third string catcher and you have no wheels whatsoever on that play where you have to beat the play at first base, you just have to give everything you've got. If you are moving from first to third and you are a larger lumbering player as opposed to a speedster, etc., we're going to move comfortably in that situation, right? But we need to, have an appropriate speed for the game. So in this play, we would want a higher degree of energy to get to home base and to be in a better position on this play. On this catch here, I would want to be here at least working a high C position here, and we need to begin to start to figure out what we are going to have in the front court. This ball handler coming from the back court should be the fundamental responsibility of the trail official here, and we can always potentially come out of our primary coverage on an obvious violation, but if we do it as a reaction whistle to a play that was actually legal, we have not done the game the service it deserves. I'm going to go there. I do not know what that means. Definitely a looked funny play. Yeah. Well, if we had a press situation, then the center would be in a much different position and our trail would be in a different position. Obviously, our trail's not in a fantastic position on this play. Yeah, the drag of the pivot foot, like I say, it's very similar to a Euro step. In Euro step plays, you can potentially get that as well. I personally do not see that as part of the play, both in Euro steps and and in this play. Mike has a travel. I disagree. I do not know what that refers to. And this, of course, right? So another aspect of this play is it's obviously the game has just started, right? When the game has just begun, we haven't quite settled in potentially, and we may display a greater lack of discipline when the game has just begun. We really haven't had a chance to settle in. We had a pregame. We were saying words to each other and agreeing about, areas of coverage and this, that, and the other thing. Sometimes the game starts and, we're not quite there yet. So that's something to recognize as well. When we analyze our game video, okay, when the game first started, from the jump, was I ready to officiate the game? During the first 4 minutes of the game, was I at my best? Was I warming up? Was I not quite there yet? Right? And then obviously at the end of the game, we expect, after the game has progressed, we certainly expect to be in the groove, etc. That the last 12 minutes of the first half, etc. And then moving into the second half, we expect to be really fun. But when we come out after halftime, am I at my best during those first 2 minutes of the second half? Or had I sort of come down from officiating the first half? We had to relax. We were talking about, other things. Maybe we got off on a tangent about, did you see what happened over the weekend? This thing happened. And, we sort of disconnect from the game. And then we come back expecting to just be ready to go, right? So when we analyze our game video, right, was I sharp to start? Was I sharp to start that second half, etc.? Evaluating all the things. And then maybe I recognize, hey, next halftime, right? Let's say I recognize I wasn't quite ready to go in the second half. Next halftime, right? When I come out, I am going to be ready to go. I'm going to focus. I'm going to realize that I had a chance to disconnect from the game, maybe get distracted talking about something else, or a situation occurred, the lockers wouldn't open, or whatever, etc. Or maybe we had a discussion at halftime which has me thinking and I'm still stuck in that discussion, etc. right? Analyzing our game video will put you on the right track in identifying these things, and then we can combat them. Okay, right? Let's put our halftime discussion away. Let's make sure that we haven't disconnected from the game when we go back out on the court. Yeah, we want to be aware, Jacob. And so, how are we aware on the court? We are aware by just peripheral perception. Sometimes we are aware by taking a glance. Sometimes we are aware of taking an extended glance, etc. And sometimes we are straight up ball watching. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I know that's something that I really attacked a few seasons ago. Is I recognized there was a little bit of disconnect coming out of the halftime, and really focused on not disconnecting from the game in any fashion at halftime. Yeah, we can have a tangential discussion, but keeping the game at the center of our discussion at halftime. All right. All right, fantastic. Thank you, Esther, for submitting that play. If you want to submit a play, there's always an opportunity. I'll put a link in the show notes, and there's a link on the screen where you could submit plays for review on 5 Play Friday. Let's take a look now at our next play. All right, habits and fundamentals. Get out the way, ref. Habits and fundamentals play. Right, one of the realities that we face as high school officials is some nights we are working 2-person, and then the next night we are working 3-person, or we work a JV game as a 2-person, and then we're going to be working as 3-person for the varsity game, right? And so our habits and fundamentals have to shift, right? If we are the trail in 2-person, then our body position on this play and what we are officiating and what we are looking at is fantastic, right? But when we work 3-person, we have to have a different perspective. We have different areas of responsibility, and we have different places on the court where we want to officiate from. So in this instance, our official is receives the play in a high C position and steps out, right? And now we have 2 trails on the play. There's no rotation here, and we don't necessarily wouldn't necessarily anticipate one. Then when the play proceeds, we are in the trail position. The official seems to continue to observe the ball in the center's primary. Our trails, our actual trail's primary. Our trail has picked up that play that is in their primary, and we have unobserved action in the game. When we analyze our game video, right, unobserved, unofficiated plays are a large fail, right? The system is designed for us to work the game and observe the things that happen on the court. And if we are out of position or we are ball watching, then we can have unobserved action, right? And that's what we have on this play. And sometimes, despite our best efforts, something occurs outside of the area of attention, and we miss it, That's just a fact of life. It's not something that's never going to happen again if we are in the correct position. But when we analyze our game video, if we can find the fact that being out of position or looking in the wrong place at the wrong time opens the door to the possibility of missing plays, then we say, well, look, if I focus on being in the right place at the right time, looking at the right things, then I can observe these plays. That's why positioning is always our number one focus when we analyze game video. Putting ourselves in the right place at the right time, looking at the right things, recognizing the system that we are working, the areas of responsibility, and then working that system, right? So, a great reminder here on this play that if we had worked the system properly, right, and we had recognized that we were C on this play, if we had gotten to home base initially, right? So at this point, we should be at home base, right? There is nothing competitive in our primary coverage area. We don't know how we got here on this play, but there's nothing competitive in our primary area. We should be, in this instance, figuring out the players in our primary, right? We've got a non-competitive matchup here, right, between this player and a player in the corner, and we have a non-competitive matchup here. But if we officiate those players, they'll tell us where we need to be. If we were center properly positioned here, or maybe here at the free throw line extended, when the ball comes into our primary, right, we have the open look on this play. And there's no reason to make this movement that's taking us further out of position on this play, right? You could make a case we would have a better position to observe this action the lower we are here, if the official stepped in this direction. But sometimes we have a habitual action of stepping up to try to get on top of plays when we already have the open look. And then we hold on to a play a little too long. We're always fascinated by the basketball, right? The basketball and the on-ball matchup. Sometimes our discipline can take us away, but we have to be aware of our partners. And on a play like this, I don't think we were. What's going on? I do not. So we could look at the contact itself and say, what happens on this play? Does this rise to the level? We see an extended raised elbow. I don't think she hits her with the elbow. What do we have? Let's take a look. It's not a swing. It's more like absorbing the contact, but you could certainly go flagrant on that. The takeaway, though, Mike, I would say is we've got to officiate that play, right? We just have to see it. Absolutely, Larry. And that's the habit that we want to see, right? Because how many times in our game, when we analyze our game video, how many times will the ball change from the center's primary to the trail's primary, or the trail's primary to the center primary, or the trail's primary to the lead's primary? In these points of transition, we could say, all right, it happened 26 times in this game that I was either the center or the trail, the ball transition. How did I do in those 26 moments where my partner had accepted the play? How quickly did I adjust and officiate elsewhere? Is this a habitual action on my part? Or is my habitual action to stay and observe that play and observe and then at some point have a recognition, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be officiating someplace else, right? If we could smooth those, right? So I got 26 instances, and I did a great job on 20 of them, and on 6 of them, I didn't do a good job. Why didn't I do a good job? Because it was trail to center, and, or it was borderline gray area between coverage areas. Previously, my partner hadn't accepted the play, or whatever, right? And start to work out those points of friction. And then maybe next game, we're down to, it's only 3 or 4. And then the next game, it's down to 2 or 1. That's our process of improvement and analyzing these points along the way in our game video that are the keys to our officiating, what's in our tool bag. Like that. Yep. Paul's going flagrant. Well, the player was definitely affected by the contact. It's like, I don't know if she she struck a nerve, that's for sure. All right. Good times. Good times. All right, here we are, play number 5. All right, what do we have on this play? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. We have a little breakdown in attention on this play. We have a block charge play. The ball goes in the basket. The calling official identifies that we are scoring the goal and that we will be attempting 1 free throw. Our administering official tells the players erroneously 2 free throws. The try is missed. Some players want to play basketball. One of the players grabs it, hands it to the official, who then realizes their mistake, and just a rather humorous moment, and one that we can all relate to, I would hope. Right, so we need to adjudicate this play properly by rule. What happens next? How are we going to handle that? Right, so identifying the situation that we have is critical, obviously, to that first step. We have erroneously informed the players that there will be 2 free throws. The first free throw is missed, and some of the players recognize that the ball should be live. Some of the players do not. The ball is handed to the official. The official is holding the ball. They release the ball, etc. How do we adjudicate this play properly? By rule. If we have erroneously informed the teams that there are 2 and there was only 1, then in this instance, the officials must stop play and resume play we have a dead ball and no obvious who should be receiving the throw in. So in this point, we are going to go to a held ball throw in as a result of this play. It's something that's in the rules. It's a way that we correct this situation by rule. And that's how it should be adjudicated. Now, when we look at the game video and we recognize, okay, this is something in my game, right? The ball has gone in the basket. My partner scored the goal and said one. They were very demonstrative with that, right? Score the goal, one. If we are the non-calling official, we have to recognize in these moments, have we taken a little me time and disconnected from the game for a moment and not recognized what our partner had on the play, not recognized right prior to free throws. Are we communicating with our partners? Eye contact, hey, we got one, we got two, etc. If we have these breakdowns in our fundamentals of how we approach the game, then situations like this occur. Now, like I say, let he who is without sin. I remember very distinctly, I had a game, I think it was a summer league game or something, at McClymonds High School, Venerable High School here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was early on in my officiating career, and I say really loudly to all the players, two, right? Big voice. I'm working on my strength and clarity, et cetera, et cetera. The try is missed, and everybody in the game went the other way with the ball. Defense grabbed the ball, and everybody went through. And it's like I was the only one in the gym who didn't recognize that it was just one. The players continued playing. Now, in that instance, our erroneous information has not impacted the game. And we would not stop play and say, no, well, wait a minute, I erroneously said two, so right? The players continued to play, right? So that was a revelatory moment for me, recognizing, first of all, players aren't listening to ref. And second, get your head in the game. Been there, done that. I am here with you, Scott. I am here with you. Good to see you on the stream. This is a casebook play. Yes, I am not certain that was a block either, right? It's not really the key takeaway on the play. I think we had a charge there. I don't think we had poor communication from the calling official. If they're very clear with both at the spot of the foul and when they're reporting, right? What we're guilty of is just disconnecting as the non-calling official here. I think that would be my big takeaway. And right. So that's the other thing we could say here. It's like if I'm in this situation where there's a block charge play and the ball goes in the basket and I am the non-calling official, what percentage of the time do I know the result of the try? Was I watching the actual contact on the play and disconnected? Did the ball go in? Did it not go in? I don't know, right? What percentage of the time do I actually know as an outside official? It's my responsibility to know whether the ball went in the basket. Am I fulfilling that? Am I 100% at all times? I know that's something that each and every game, right? It's a checkbox for me, right? Making sure that I know, and if I'm uncertain, or like there was as center on the play, I had an opinion about the play. Actually, I don't know if the ball went in. It's like, man, you got to know. You got to know. That's your responsibility. I love the moment where the official realizes it is like drops the ball, like, oh. It's funny. It's funny. Right. So, that's an area of discipline you can have as well, Phil. I agree 100%, is eye contact, right? Sometimes we're the lead and we want to say one or two, and our trail won't give us eye contact, right? They're engaged with the coach or just like taking a little me time, like we like to say, right? If we can get our crew, everybody on the crew, right, indicating, boy, we have a lot more cohesion as a crew. We stay better connected on free throw plays, etc. So, yeah, the ball went in. That's the key thing. All right, I'll go there. Cool. All right, we have time for a bonus play. Let's take a look. Well, first thing we have to recognize is NBA officials, man, they have so much action at the rim, right? This play that happens in a fraction of a second, they have to have complete awareness. These are super challenging plays. It's great for us to have video breakdown where we can analyze in slow motion exactly what happens on the play, right? Get a clear understanding and refresh our understanding of the rules in this instance. And so that when we see them in our game, which for high school, for some officials is not, at lower levels, we're not going to see a lot of action like this. At higher levels, when we have above the rim play, our officials are going to get much more exposure to plays like this, but having the discipline to be aware of what happens on this play. So let's take a look at what we've got. So NBA rules obviously different, but with high school rules, if we look at what happens on this play, we can figure out who is at fault. Now, ultimately, the ball ends up, due to the offensive player's action here of pulling down the ring and the ball springboarding up, this in and of itself would be a basket interference violation. Even if a player legally stuffs the ball, right, depresses the ring as a result, if the ball ultimately is propelled by the depressed ring returning to normal, that would be basket interference on the offensive side. But what happens first on this play, right? A defensive player is not allowed to contact the basket while the ball is on or in the basket. So in this instance, when the offensive player attempts to stuff the ball is on or in the basket. The offensive player here is allowed to be contacting the ring, but our defensive player in this instance is not allowed to contact the basket. So, remembering, of course, that the basket consists of the ring, the flange, and the net, right? These are all elements of the basket. So this should be a defensive basket interference violation by rule for contacting the basket while the ball is on or in. Now, that would cause the ball to become dead, and the subsequent action by the offensive player is disregarded, right? That's what we would have on this play. That's what we would have on this play. Right? Again, but again, what this really emphasizes the fact for NBA officials, they have action at the ring constantly, and their ability to detect what's going on with the sea of hands situation, right? Multiple players have their hands up and around the basket. A lot of things going on. As high school officials don't see nearly as much action at the ring, but when we are working games that have that, we need to have those skill sets and the ability to make those perceptions and judgments in an instant and know what happened. Helping us along the way is to see video here so that when it happens on the court, we're better prepared. Yeah, that's what we wanted to say. Yeah. Paul, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. On the phone is tough. Tough to see plays like this. The super slow-mo helps, but our defensive player, right here, our defensive player's hand is contacting the ring right here, and their hand is up in the net. And the hand remains on the ring while the ball is on or in the basket. But another thing I appreciate about this clip, thanks to LaMelo Ball, is this has got to be a signal, right? We got to add this. We got to add this as a signal in the game. I must have edited it out. I do not know the result of this play, Gary. Did this ultimately go to video review? Right? So I think in the NBA, the lead officials are actively involved in plays at the basket like this. So ultimately, we see the lead have a whistle on the play. I don't know which action they were adjudicating, whether it was the resulting, acceleration of the ball off the depressed ring. But it's a great clip. But it's a great clip to help us. It's great to see plays at the basket, recognize what happens, utilize slow motion, right? Increase our knowledge of the rules and restrictions so that when we see these plays in our game in real time, right, that we are first of all aware that we have to have eyes on that play as outside officials, and that what the rules and restrictions are, and they happen in an instant. Oh, the energy in the gym, of course, is going to go crazy on plays like this. Above the rim play, at the basket. Some people are saying that's goaltending, right? We expect that explosion of energy. So it's great to see that play. All right. And if you enjoy seeing plays like that, and like the plays we've had today on the show, make sure to take a moment and do all the things and hit the like and subscribe and the notify bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content, right? If you are a basketball official, this is the video breakdown analysis that you find valuable. Make sure to like, subscribe, and notify so you don't miss out. Before we depart today, allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters, John Skinner, Landon Arnold, Daryl Young, Ray Cloak, and Thomas Hennian. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? There'll be a link in the show notes below, and I'll put one up above. Awesome. We have for you we've got additional video content available for you here. Here's a video that I personally have selected. YouTube says this is the one for you. You've got to make a choice now. Choose wisely. We'll see you in the very next one. Take care. Oh, man. Tech team. That went pretty well. Billy Mack shares the universal opinion. Please, less clips with those fat stripes. Yeah, I've never been a fan. Never been a fan. Uniforms come and go. Some places wear gray uniforms. Some places wear the collegiate uniform with the black, which when it first came out, I did not like, but I've really come to enjoy those more. The new NCAA women's uniforms are really good, I think. Kind of an NBA vibe to them. And I could appreciate that. There should be a warning. Warning for officials. We're about to show a clip with really fat striped uniforms. Love it. Love it. Yeah. 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 And that's the thing that's so obvious is, oh, he clearly does this thing, but in real time, you got to have your eyes up there and ready to perceive really, crazy amount of action. It's just I'm in awe of the NBA officials' ability to do those, to get those plays right. It's really impressive to me. Yeah, I wouldn't expect this play to be reviewed. But the officials have to sort it out in real time on the court. All right, Dave. Keep it safe and fair out there. All right, I have plenty on my agenda today. I appreciate everybody joining for the live stream. Let's see. 90 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. All right, it's playoff time. If you've got that playoff game, do a great job. Enjoy it. Just love the experience, right? If you are, going to work higher levels of the playoffs, that's super exciting. Enjoy it. Do well. And take care, everybody. I will see you next week, I'm sure, for Wednesday. My tech team is working hard. We're going to get it together for Wednesday and Friday next week. Take care, everybody.